Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Lone Star Chick Plans and we are back with another video. In today's video, I want to introduce you guys to a new budget that's going to be on my channel. This is going to be my mom's budget for her expenses, and I'm getting her on board with doing the budgeting and cash stuffing method. So what we had to do, because she didn't really have like a budget set up, we actually had to do some work in order to get that done. So what we had to do was go through all of her bank statements, go through all of her credit card statements, credit card statement, to go through the last 3 months at least of expenses and spending, so that we could come up with a budget to start with, because like I said, she didn't really have one. So we identified her income sources, which really she only has 3 income sources. That's her Social Security. She is on a very fixed income. So she gets Social Security benefits. She gets a pension check from TRS, which is the Texas teacher retirement system in Texas. And she gets an allowance from her savings every month. So she does have some emergency savings. And she is getting a little bit of money from that stash. So those are her normal income sources every month. That is what we kind of budgeted off of. And then of course, as always, we always have, stuff that comes up or unbudgeted or extra stuff that needs to be accounted for, which we'll see in the budget. But so we went through all of her statements, we categorized everything, then we looked for the common spending areas, and we kind of built some categories off of that for her budget. And the usual, like groceries, gas, eating out, spending money. She does have some doctor appointments, so we did need a medical category. She does get some prescriptions, but it's only like one, and it's only just a couple bucks. It's not really that much, but we've listed it here so we don't forget about it, because that is coming up next month. She did help my brother do his taxes, which is her son, my brother, and so she paid for that, and he paid her back for that. So then she also helps out her brother. She also helps out her brother with his business and helping him with his books. So she had to pay for a subscription for that. So she should be getting that reimbursed from him. Yeah. So after we went through everything, we were able to build off of some categories. We were able to find the common spending every month that she was doing. And these were the categories that we came up with. We also have, our bills. So she does live in an apartment. She lives in just, one bedroom. It's just her by herself. So she has rent. She has utilities, electric, internet. She does tithe. She also has a little car wash subscription for her car. And then from time to time, she will renew her car insurance, which we are now going to start her on some sinking funds for all these upcoming things. So we are kind of ready to start this budget in February. We should have started in January, but we didn't. And when I saw, her inflow and her outflow, and I saw that her outflow was more than the inflow, I told her we needed to sit down and do this, because I could see where that was going, and there wasn't going down a good path. So we went through everything. We categorized everything. We made up the categories. We got a good average of spending, and then we figured out her income coming in. So combined with that, we were able to budget everything out into what we hope is realistic categories and amounts for all this spending that she needs to do. We also logged into her, utilities accounts, like her electric and her utilities for her apartment. So her rent and her water, gas, trash, and pest control is through her apartment complex. So it's kind of like a shared billing. They send the apartment a bill and then they have to split the cost, you know. So if somebody in a different apartment than you, but in your unit, is using 10 times the water that you do, you also have to share in that cost. So a lot of times her bill is very variable because of that. So it's not always the same. So what we had to do was we went through her last like year of rent history and what she paid every month. And we took the highest month to create this budget. I told her, let's budget high and hope that the bills come low so that you have a little bit left over in the category for the next month. So if there's any leftover, we can kind of roll that over and basically kind of start a sinking fund in itself for those variable kind of months. So what she's going to be doing is she's going to be cash stuffing the ones that are highlighted here. We're going to be cash stuffing all of these, and she should be, after this month going forward, she should be a month ahead. So we are saving up for these 3 categories right here, which is this amount here, to catch her up on being a month ahead. But her rent and her utilities, those are already a month ahead. So that actually turned out really good. So we're trying to get off of the credit card float to cash flow. We're trying to get away from that and stay where if we wanted to be cashless, we could be cashless. But if we wanted to do cash only, we could do cash only, you know. So we're trying to basically stay in budget and not overspend. For sinking funds, we created a plan for the most important bills that she has coming up. And that's like her car registration and inspection, Christmas, birthdays, you know, car insurance, some specific categories that we identified in her spending that are important that we need to save for. So we're going to start her some sinking funds, and we're also going to be cash stuffing those sinking funds. So I want to go over the budget for this first month of February. So we are work in progress this month. This is basically what we're starting with. We're going to see how far we can get and basically just tweak it for next month to see how far we go. I don't think this month is too bad. But she kind of started her spending before we had a chance to talk and create this budget. So she does have some spending already done, and that was outside of what we set up as a budget going forward. So this month is going to be a little catch-up month. It's not going to be what it should be because of all those timing things. So we'll go ahead and start. So she is going to be budgeting as a monthly budgeter. She only gets paid twice a month. And it's very, like, the numbers are the same every month, but the dates of them coming in are 2 different dates. So we're going to be budgeting as a monthly budgeter. And how we've kind of worked it out on her budget with the timing and everything. I mean, guys, we sat down and it took us all day on Saturday to do this last week. I wanted to bring this video to you guys sooner, but we were still trying to figure out some stuff on her budget and kind of play catch up with it so that I could bring you kind of a more updated, current, up-to-date budget for February so far with what we've come up with. So how we did it was we started with figuring out what was her rollover, and that was determined to be $279.71, and that's what we have here. Then what we did was we had her allowance that transfers on the 1st. We included that income here. Then we had her Social Security payment come in, and that was what we budgeted, and so that came in, you know, right on target. So we added that amount here. She also received some money for reimbursement from my brother, so that's here. And then we are expecting her TRS, her retirement check, to come in later on in this month. And as you can see, the date is the end of the month. So what my vision is that she'll be able to pull her cash stuffing and her sinking funds at the beginning of the month when she receives her Social Security. And for what we've budgeted for her spending, like for her variables, like her groceries and her gas and her spending money, we're going to, she's going to use her credit card and do her spending all month and stay in her budget. And then at the end of the month, when she gets her TRS, that is just about enough. It should be about, if we take off these, because these are not normal stuff that she's going to have. These amounts here should be, and actually her spending budget is actually supposed to be $30. So if I were to change that to $30, this is what her budget should be. It should be $370. And her TRS check, her pension check, is $390. So that's how we kind of had budgeted out initially. But I went ahead and put her, so she did her taxes and she's expecting to get $119 back. So she wanted to put that towards her spending because she had already started spending before we did this. So she decided that her income tax refund would go against her credit card spending that she had already done for the month. So I went ahead and added that $119 to this spending category. So that's why we have the 30, which was her allowance, her allowed spending money for the month, her budget, plus the 119. Now I minus 20 here because I took 20 out for her medical. That was not something we planned for. She had already done this medical appointment at the beginning of the month before we talked. So I went ahead and just carved it out of the 119 and put it in its own category. And then next month she's going to have that again. So she'll have this same category and this amount again. Now next month's budget will probably look like more like what it should because she won't have this extra income. But this month she does. So this month, this is how it looks. But that's how we figured out the budget. We took out all the fluff, did it bare bones, just blank, and we started and built off of that. So that's how we did that. So we figured out her rollover. We have figured out, her income for the month. We figured out her variables, which is what we have here. Then we also figured out, all her bills that she needs to pay that's, coming out of her account every month. Then we also created her some sinking funds, and we were able, with her extra allowance money that she gets, that and the little bit that's left over from her TRS check, which is about should be about $20. With that is the $177 that we are creating with this sinking fund. So that's how we kind of math that out, because that will be every month. So instead of it just sitting in her account, I said, why don't we just create some sinking funds for all of these things that are coming up? And this way you have the money set aside for when that time comes, so that every dollar has a job and we can do a zero-based budget as close to possible. Now, I do want to make sure that she does have a little bit of a buffer in her account at the end of the month. And so right now it's looking like it's going to be about maybe $40. So she started with $279, but that got reduced to $40 because of her month ahead. We want to be able to catch her up on that month ahead. And I was like, now is the perfect time to do that because you have the money in your account and we're not having to pull it from anywhere. You already have it. So we went ahead and did that and we set that up, and I will show you guys what that looks like right now. So let's go to the cash breakdown. So I kind of have her set up like I do my budget. If you watch my other videos, you'll be able to see that. What we created here, these are the things that we figured out that she has to pay either annually or quarterly or whatever. So we'll go through those now. So her renter's insurance, this is going to be for her annual renter's insurance. So she's going to be putting $6 a month to save up for that. And I want to say her insurance is like, I don't know, like $75 or something like that a year. So we're going to be saving $6 a month for the next year because she's about to have to pay that next month. So for next month, we're just going to take it out of her savings because, you guys, she does not have that in her income to pay that in full and stay within budget next month. It would be that, or, pay that to stay in budget and not have enough for groceries or gas, or, she would be putting it on a credit card. And that's what we don't want to happen. We want to get off the credit card float and get back to being able to pay off what we spend on the card every month. So what we are going to do is pay that in full next month, and then she'll start saving starting this month for the next year when that comes due again. And then by then she should have the money in her sinking fund to pay for that in full. And she can afford the $6 a month, but she cannot afford the $75 in 1 month. So that's how we're going to do basically all of these. So her car registration, I believe that one is due in, I think, either August or October, something like that. So she's having to save a little bit more now because, like, we just started saving and we need to catch up. So it's going to be a little bit more, but come next year, this amount will be less because she will have the full year to save up. Gifts. We first initially called this Christmas to put towards Christmas, but I said, why don't we just put it gifts? So this way you can use it for anyone. You save, $25 a month. And then you can use it, if you want to buy somebody a birthday gift or a Mother's Day gift or Father's Day gift or any holiday gift. You can just use this money for gifts in general. And then hopefully you have some left over for Christmas at the end of the year as well. So that is the hope, is that, this will be used for, have some left over for Christmas, but also be able to use that interchangeably with any holiday. So we determined to just call it gifts versus Christmas. Car insurance. So this is also, she pays this in full for the year because they give you such a discount and she needs all the discounts, guys. So when we contacted them, she has AAA. And so we contacted them and they already sent her like the renewal. She's about to have to renew for that next month as well with her renter's insurance. So we're going to just pay that in full from her savings because she has it. Come next year, we're going to be off of that float and not dipping into our savings anymore. And we're going to be saving for that every month. And that's $108. So it's going to be $108 for a year. So that's how much her car insurance is per month. She'll just be saving for it to pay it in full come next year. The next one is her printer ink. So she's starting a little side hustle business to try to generate some income because, as you guys can see, she does not have it. She's on a very, very fixed income. So in order for her to have some spending money, she loves to quilt and sew stuff and make all kinds of crafts. And she has, all the sewing machines to do it. So she's going to be starting a little Shopify store to try to generate some income to support herself. So, we'll let you guys know when that happens. And then, hopefully, maybe you guys would be interested in buying something from her and help her in that way and support her small business. So we'll see how that goes, but it's going to be coming soon. The next one is Google Drive. So she has a Google Drive that she uses to save and share all of her embroidery and her design files that she uses to make all the stuff that she makes. So she was having like some computer issues where it was just bogging down the computer too much. And so we got the Google Drive to be able to have more memory available and for her to have more storage space to be able to save stuff. So that's going to be for an annual subscription. The next one is Bluehost. So this is for her website, for her Shopify store that she's going to have. This was to save the domain and have her website. So it's going to be $3 a month. and we just paid it in full this month for the year. So that will be due next year. So we're going to save $3 a month towards that. And hopefully her business will be able to make that $3 a month where she's not having to use her income, let's say, to save this $3. Maybe that can come from her business, as well as her Google Drive and as well as her printer ink. Hopefully she'll be able to offset that savings with income from her business. Then she will have more, spending money in her budget for, whatever she needs, doctor visits and prescriptions, or just spending money in general. She can have a budget for all those things. She can have the money back in her budget, let's say, for all those things. The next one is aspirin. So she gets this from a prescription at the pharmacy, like behind the counter, because it's cheaper. So it's like $1 a month. So we looked and it was like less than $3 that she pays at CVS every quarter. So it's every 3 months, every 90 days. So I told her, let's just save it. Let's save it. Let's, remember what it's for. Let's call it and give it a name. Let's account for it so it's not a surprise, because on her very, very, very fixed income, at this point, $3 is a lot of money in her budget. So we've got to take care of these things when we can. So she can afford $1 a month to save for it and have that $3, so she's not having to pay for that all at once. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep saving $1 forever, and then every 3 months she'll re-up on her prescription. The next one is electric. So her electric bill, like I said, this month, she's catching up on all her month ahead. So we've chosen, based on all of her previous months for the last year, we budgeted for the highest month that she had in the last year. That didn't account for this month's bill that's due at the end of the month. That just popped up within the last couple of days after we created our budget. And I think it's going to be like 181 and some change or something like that. Well, this $180 is now the highest bill that she's ever received. So I don't know what happened this month, but we budgeted 120. So I think we'll be okay keeping it 120 going forward. And this month we'll, if we have to pull from her savings to pay that, or if we can work it in her budget somehow. She did go out of town to see her brother, so she may not be using like all her grocery money this month and all her gas money. So hopefully we may be able to pull from that to pay that bill and not have to pull from savings. So we're going to see how that works. You guys will, be able to see that once we do the monthly closeout. So for now, we're going to continue budgeting $120 a month and kind of see how it goes. But that was the highest from her last year of bills until this month. So we thought we were doing good budgeting 120, but stuff happens. So we'll see. Her internet, she does have internet at her apartment, and so that's $50 a month, and that doesn't change. So I think we're good on budgeting that for $50. Her car wash is also $20 a month, and that doesn't change. That amount does not change. So I think we're good on budgeting that going forward, and that shouldn't change. Her rent is also the same every month, so that shouldn't change either. So I think we're good on that. And her utilities, which is her water, her gas, her like natural gas, her trash and pest control, that we took the highest of the last year that we saw in her account, and it was about $110. So I said, let's budget $115. Let's just give it a couple extra bucks. And so we budgeted $115. So we'll see how that comes in, but that is variable and her electric is variable. Otherwise her, her household bills are the same. So hopefully when her bills come in, that will leave her a little bit left over so that she can kind of start a buffer in that for maybe a second month ahead, or even, just having a buffer for those months when she gets a higher bill. So what she is going to be cash stuffing for this month is $1,359. And this is going to be for sinking funds, which are all these. And then these are going to be for her month ahead. So this is going to be for March's bills. March rent, March utilities, March car wash, March internet, March electric. So she's basically going to be kind of paying 2 bills this month for these, because she was already a month ahead on her rent and her water. So now we're catching her up with these 3 bills to get a month ahead on those, which is the 190. So she's paying 190 twice this month to get that month ahead. But going forward next month, she won't have this saving category anymore. We're just going to list it out here so that we can account for it, because at some point that bill needs to be paid as well. So that is her sinking funds, and that explains her month ahead. So the next thing we have is her tithe. So she does tithe, and that's $172 a month. And she does have her Shopify subscription that is a monthly thing. And hopefully, you know, like I said, hopefully her subscription is able to be paid by her business once that gets up and going. So hopefully that will become a business expense and not hers out of her income, so that she can get that back in her spending categories. So Bluehost, that was her website. So we're paying that now, but we want to start a sinking fund for it for next year. So we paid that $36.99 for this year. So that will get us through all the way till next year. So her car wash is $20, and that's, you know, coming out on the 17th. So those are basically her bills. They come out, you know, throughout the month. So however those come out, she will have the money set aside for that going forward to pay those bills. This month she'll be paying for it out of her bill account, which is going to be her checking account. And then next month she'll be depositing the money. So she's going to save this money this month. She's going to hold it in her envelopes, in her binder, in her cash stuffing. And then she will take that money out at the end of February and deposit it in the bank to pay March's bills. And then when she gets her Social Security check next month in March, she will take out the same amounts out in cash again and save it for the next month. So that's how it will work for her going forward. This month is just a little wonky. She's having to pay a couple bills twice because of the getting started part and catching up. So hopefully next month will be more secure. So she's already kind of started her spending. I'll go over that real quick with you guys. So as you can see, she's already spent $330. So she has $209 left to spend this month. That's what we're hoping, you know, she'll have $209 left. But some of that we kind of want to save for her light bills. So we're going to have to see how that goes. But in any case, she's got design, like embroidery stuff that she buys, designs that she likes to, you know, for her to be crafting and doing stuff for people. And right now she's just been working word of mouth. So that's how she's been doing, you know, her side hustle stuff. She's been just kind of basically people she knows and friends of friends that have been sharing the word about her, you know, work. That's how she's designing stuff and making money right now. So she doesn't have like a website or anything yet. So that's what we're working on. So she's got, you know, some spending for that. I'm not sure what she spent on Amazon. This looks like, when I did some Google search, it looked like it was for Monopoly Go or something that she plays. She only ate out once so far this month, and then I think she ate out today. That was $7.67 at McDonald's, $6.95 at Walmart. I mean at Amazon, $11.90 at Walmart, $10.66 again for her embroidery stuff. She did get some fabric at Joann's for $10.77. She had a doctor's appointment, so that was $20. She also has some more Amazon spending here for different stuff for $66.95. She did get some rewards on her credit card that she cashed out. So that was $24. That'll go against her spending. Thank God. So she also spent $40 for groceries already this month. She paid for a subscription for my brother for him to do his taxes, and then he paid her back already. So that's up here in the income section. So we just kind of separated that out from her spending because that wasn't really her spending. That was his spending. So we just want to make sure we account for that correctly. She had some more designs that she bought for $15. She had this QuickBooks business subscription for her brother's business that she helps him with his bookkeeping, also on the side. So she paid for the subscription and he's going to reimburse her for that. So that's that. And that was for $32.10. She bought some books from Turning Point for $5. This is her Bluehost. This was part of the payment, and then the other payment was here for $21.99. She had some more designs that she bought for $5.36. She bought some more designs here for $5.62. Y'all, she needs to make some money. She needs to make some money, or somebody needs to give her a gift card or something to all these places so she can have some spending money. She did buy some more groceries at H-E-B for $10.39. If you're not familiar with H-E-B, H-E-B is kind of a Texas-only grocery store. But they have really good stuff, and they just built one close to us. I haven't had the opportunity to go shop there yet, but one day I will, hopefully. Buc-ee's, this is a gas station, $26.25 for gas. And that's about how much it costs to fill up her tank. So I think we budgeted for maybe 2 tanks of gas for $50. So hopefully that's enough for her for the month. I think it should be. She doesn't go out too much. She mostly is just at home unless she has like a doctor's appointment or she goes out to pick up her groceries or something. So most of the time she's at home. So hopefully that should be enough for the month. She did spend some more money on Amazon for $8.74. I'm not sure what all the Amazon spending is, guys. I had her input all the transactions to get it caught up, but I didn't get all the details, so I'm not sure what else she bought. This is her tithes, so that was $171.64. This was her month ahead catch-up, $190, and then this was her sinking funds that she's starting for $177. And these amounts, this amount right here, $177, this should be the same amount going forward. This is what she's going to be cash stuffing. These amounts are kind of set in stone because of her fixed income. So if there's anything else that we need to add or amounts we need to adjust, that will also adjust her spending money or her grocery budget. This was her rent that we pulled in cash. That was $877. And then her water, gas, trash, pest control for $115. That's going into her sinking funds. So all this money was pulled, $13.59. That was pulled here on her cash stuffing. So we'll have a cash stuffing video next after this so that you guys can see what she's cash stuffing. I'm still working on her envelopes, so they're not going to be done. They're not going to be ready yet. So we're just going to have to work through that problem. But I did get her a binder for Christmas, and I had kind of encouraged her to start. And so now we're starting in February. But she already had a binder kind of, and then, she, we decided to just make generic envelopes, kind of like how mine are. We're going to make those same thing for her. Because she's going to have fixed amounts and fixed categories for now. She's not going to have like a lot of other stuff. So she's not going to be able to do a whole lot of savings challenges and stuff like that unless she wants to, and she can take that out of her spending money, but we'll see how that goes. So for now, this is where we are, you guys. So for right now, how this is reading, because you guys are probably scared by that it says negative. So this remaining amount under projected, that means if we were doing a zero-based budget, which is what we are trying to do, your zero-based budget, so this projected amount should be zero. Unless you want to have a buffer in your account. So if you wanted to have a buffer in your account and you wanted that number to stay the same every single month, then you would have to figure out what that buffer amount is. And then at the end of the month, once you have all your categories and all your income budgeted out, that number should be right here where this 4052 is. That should be your buffer. That should be the amount you're striving to get to. If it's any other number, then that means you budgeted extra amount, or maybe a bill was higher than what you initially thought it would be, so that's eating away at your buffer. So that's basically what this is saying. So this is saying we still at the end of the month should have $40.52 in rollover. or buffer, as a lot of people call it, in your checking account. This should be the balance that she has in her checking account at the end of the month, if we stick to this budget and if all that money was spent. So if all that money is not spent at the end of the month, her actual column will reflect that. It's going to show what was actually spent and what was actually left over at the end of the month. Right now, it is showing negative because she has expenses. She has $300 and almost $31 of money that she has spent on her credit card that hasn't been paid back to her credit card from her bank account yet. This actual column is already accounting for that. It is already saying that your budget already includes this amount. And if you were to receive this income, so like here, we've only received $1,523 of the $2,064. So based on this income, which is this income here, plus her rollover from what she had left over from last month, if we were to pay all these expenses back to her credit card in full, that would mean that her checking account is overdrawn by $95.78. So we don't want to do that, but that's currently how this reads. So if you wanted to get it to balance to your actual checking balance, then you would have to not include this number in your calculation so that you can get to that checking account number, and this should match to your checking account if you did the calculation correctly and if you backed that number out. That's how this reads. So if she was to go based off of this income, so now, you know, if we add in her $390, now we're back in the green. Now we're back into a good healthy range that, you know, she would have enough to pay everything back and she would have $294 left. So that's how this reads, guys. So yes, it's saying negative right now, but her checking account is not negative. So she has money in there, and we're not planning on paying this card, her credit card that she's doing her spending on. We're not planning on paying that in full until she gets her pension check at the end of the month, because that's when she will have enough to cover everything. So for now, she's just going to be using her card. And that's also for ease of tracking, and then for ease of keeping a kind of a buffer in her checking account, just in case something does come through that we didn't budget for, until we get this down. Once we get this down, it's going to probably take a couple of months, but once we get the hang of it, and once she gets the hang of it, because we're doing this together, and she did allow me to share this information. I'm not doing this without her knowledge. She did allow me to share it. She wants to be accountable to herself. She wants to show how someone on a fixed income can budget and can be successful. So we are a work in progress. She is a work in progress. And so we are going to be, you know, showing this going forward. So I'll just start like a new playlist in YouTube for it. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet, but we'll see how it goes. But in any case, that's how this reads. We're going to continue this way, and we're going to stay on budget, and hopefully, you know, she's going to be tracking all her expenses. She's going to be dropping in her transactions, and we'll see how we end up this first month. But this is the first month, so we're just going to have to give her some grace. Give me some grace for trying to help her with this and understand it. And this first month, you know, trying to pay double bills this month to catch up is a little bit tricky. So we're hoping, you know, so far the math is mathing. As you guys can see, we should have $40 as a buffer left at the end of the month if we get this income, and we should. So if all that works out, we're in a good place. So stay tuned for the cash stuffing portion of this budget for February. That's coming up next. And happy budgeting, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you guys will support her Shopify store whenever she gets that going up and running soon. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.